Okay, everything looks good. This is episode 26 of the podcast, and we've got a guest today. Josh, hello.
It's not hectic, actually. It's Dosh. Don't the name tags lie.
The name tags are lying to you all. Give me like
Hello, that's me.
2 seconds to
No, I'm not the Warforged fighter from the
there.
D&D campaign. I am the
It
female
has been
rogue.
fixed. It has been fixed. Okay.
Okay, much better.
Anyway, Spoon, how are you? How was class?
Yep, class was all right. I got my second vaccine shot this morning, as I mentioned last week. I'm feeling fine so far. My arm's starting to be a little sore right now, but
Yep.
I'm not feeling sick yet, so we're okay.
Yep. It could be coming around tomorrow.
Usually the next day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
Yeah.
that's what I've heard.
should feel something tomorrow. But I'm glad that you got your second shot today. And we've got not that much news today, actually. Not that much. But before we get into that, and then before we get into the stuff after the news, quick intro to us. Hold on, I have to switch to the overlay. Give me
Ooh,
well, I have to make sure
switching.
it's working too. Oh, it is
That's
working by the
true.
way. It's shocking that it works well. Except for your name. Your name is still hectic apparently. We can
I'm
fix
always
that
hectic.
though. We can fix that though. So this is the YouTube for OverLimit. Let me get rid of that just so we can see it a bit better. So actually, just before this, I did some adjustments to our YouTube. So outside of this like video that we customize here, which is the most recent video I've uploaded, um, if you happen to stumble upon our YouTube now, you'll get a comprehensive playlist set up here as one section. If you're just itching to go straight into our podcast episodes, those will all go right here. And those are, I assume those are in hopefully some kind of chronological order. The StarCraft 2 co op campaign uploads, and then just general uploads. Haven't sectioned off some of the other stuff that we've done just yet, but just starting here. So this is hopefully will be a little bit better organization for people who are interested in just finding very specific things. And I mean we're still hoping to get people to check out the videos. We posted 3 today. So hopefully people can go check those out, like them, and check out the StarCraft videos that I posted on there. I cut every mission up, so usually they're only like 20 to 30 minutes, and they're pretty fun. They're pretty fun. It's just banter between Tracker, Tactic, and I as we go through the Wings of Liberty campaign. The other uh, co-op campaigns, I'm just trying to think. I have 2 more locked in. I just haven't pushed them live yet. Those will go live at some point Thursday or Friday. And then I think we have like decent chunk more of missions I have to go through and cut up. So yeah, check those out, please. We'd really appreciate it. And let me just go down my list here. I've got a couple more things that we have here. Probably no movie night this weekend. My weekend is actually becoming extremely busy, so movie night's probably out of the question. Just wanted to mention that. Uh, Spoon, can you give us a general idea of when we're gonna watch World Ends with You this weekend? Because yeah, I don't know how busy your weekend's gonna be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be pretty busy as you guys know. Since I mentioned last week, Megan's coming to visit, but I think we'll probably have time. We can do it on Sunday as usual, probably.
Okay.
I don't exactly know what time because it sounds like we may play D&D on Sunday as
Yeah.
well.
I
So
don't need, I see a mess in that corner there, Spoon. You might need to clean that up a bit beforehand.
it's
Mm-hmm.
literally just
I don't know.
throw pillow. It's literally just throw pillows from
Ooh.
from my bed. Like
Ooh.
where else do I put them?
Out the window,
Hmm.
perhaps?
Yeah, I don't know. Downstairs, got a couch.
In
Yeah. No.
in your brother's room? In Ghost room?
Yeah. Put it in ghost
Could
room.
be there. Could be there.
Oh, you're drunk. Ghost room. Yeah.
Yeah, well, when D&D for us gets finalized, Spoon, you'll update everybody on that, I imagine.
Yep.
And for last bit of stuff, I talked to Kuru yesterday, and I've been talking to him for the past week or so
Best
about
interest.
the Minecraft stuff. So we still have our realm. We actually swapped the world though. So we swapped to a different world. We did a pre-generated one. It's like a treetop. Yeah, there's no other way to put it. It's just a bunch of tree houses. Somebody made a world full of tree houses. So we decided to switch to that world, and Kuru and I talked about it. And we'll play that a little bit here and there, but um, yeah, just for I know we had a couple people that were in that world, and then we just sort of stopped playing on it. I talked to Kuru about it, and we'll be trying to play on it every bit or so during the week, just a little bit here and there. For anybody that's still interested in craft stuff, you're welcome to check it out. Everybody who was invited to the previous one should immediately be able to get into the new one, and the new one is completely like Kuru and I have done nothing yet, so it's just sandbox at this point. Anything you want to do, nothing's been done to occur beyond the pre-generated state. So that's all the updates that I have personally. Spoon, any other updates that I missed?
I'll just say that I apologize. I know I said I was gonna stream more Berseria on Monday. Um, that was just on me completely. I was just tired and I didn't feel like it. So, yeah,
Be like that.
no good excuse, but it just be like that sometimes. Where it's like, yeah, I was gonna stream today,
Sure.
but I don't really feel like it. So,
Oh yeah, of course.
hopefully, I'm gonna be busy on Friday. So hopefully next Monday we will continue that. Well, I'm thinking I could do it tomorrow possibly, but I might feel bad tomorrow. I'm not sure, so
I would say
I don't
no.
want
I
to.
would don't commit to it at all.
Yeah, I'm not
I've
gonna commit to it. Maybe if I feel well enough, I will, but
I
I wouldn't count on it.
if you feel anything like I did, you won't want to do anything.
Yeah,
You'll be down. You'll just be down.
And if you feel like I did, you'll be like, why is everyone complaining?
yeah,
It's I mean, totally different perspectives obviously. But
Mhm.
I'm just telling like don't commit to it because like for me
yeah,
it was an actual light fever.
yep. So I'll say unlikely tomorrow, but maybe if I feel up to it, but we'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
Um, but probably Monday. Probably Monday again. We'll continue that.
Okay. Actually, I'll add something, by the way, to our little news list. I won't have an article to it, but Daj, how much have you been keeping up with League of Legends? I believe they're doing the MSI. What was it called? The MSI, like Rumble stage or
The Rumble
something?
stage. I've
Yeah.
been keeping up pretty well with it. Like I follow the standings and I follow the actual like event. I don't watch as much as I'd like to because the matches are at 9 a.m. and I don't wake up till 2 in the afternoon most days. But
Oh, okay.
yeah, the essentially the team that did not qualify, Cloud9 for North America, um, was the only major region not to qualify. But technically, PSG Talent is basically like the equivalent of what LMS was, and they have
Okay.
like former players like Maple. So like it's basically the LMS qualifying instead of Cloud9. It's not the most surprising. A lot of teams are a lot of people are giving slack. It's like, guys, it's North America. Why are we surprised? Um, but yeah, I mean, it's it's disappointing, but like it's not a shocker that Cloud9 doesn't qualify.
Hmm.
Their jungler looked really, really bad in the group stage, and that kind of transitioned into a bit of mediocre performance in the actual Rumble stage, where they did take a game off of the Korean team and the Chinese team in this tournament, who are
Hmm.
probably going to win the tournament.
Yep.
And in the Rumble stage, one of those was the Chinese team, and then they beat the European team and the wildcard region. And they also lost to the wildcard region, lost to the European team, lost to the Chinese team, lost to Talon twice, lost to Damwon twice. So
Oh my goodness.
not a great showing,
Yeah.
but
I have an interesting thing I want to bring up, and I want your opinion on later, though. Later,
yeah,
though,
sure.
at the end, because I was reading some stuff that's semi like I think it was attempted a long time ago, and I'm curious your thoughts on it. But we'll get to that towards the end because I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are on it. So
Sure.
let's go just through our list of news that I had in the doc. I tried to put it in relative order. However, some parts of it have gotten out of order because we added something. So, um, this is something that I was following. This happened, as you can see on the date, it was May 14th that this was announced, which happened to be last Friday. This is a very big deal. Pro Magic is coming to an end, so the Wizards of the Coast and the um, just like the Magic Pro League and Rivals League have suspended support for professional players. So let me just sort of clarify what the Twitter account said. Will not be explicitly designed to support competitive Magic as a career path. So, for those of you that just don't know anything about Magic the Gathering, Magic the Gathering is a tradable card game. It was completely physical. It's transitioned a bit more into digital with Magic Arena, but the the professional culture of Magic the Gathering has existed for, I would say, over 20 years. I think is fair, and it's like probably one of the, I think it is still the biggest physical card game that exists. So
Probably.
previously there was some support for players to play Magic as a career path with professional players. There were several pro tours that would occur. There were teams that would have players on it and things like that. And then it just got announced last week that um, they're going to implement some kind of new vision, which does not have Magic as a career path as a part of it. I don't have any other specifics besides that. I'm sure there's more information behind it, but again, neither of you guys may not know a ton about it. The pro tour and such, but the pro tour, if you've ever been to some of um those Magic the Gathering, I don't know what the appropriate term would be, but I'll just call it a convention. They just like will take up these huge buildings and just tables upon tables of players competing in various different types of game modes. Um, it's a really, I would say, a big community. So this is very surprising, at least for me, just as somebody who's I haven't followed it a ton, but I've been aware that the Magic Pro Tour has been around for a long time.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it always sucks when these pro leagues kind of get like shut down out of nowhere.
oh yeah, this got hotsed pretty much. It feels
Yeah.
like it got hotsed, which is really unfortunate. So um I feel really bad for all the players that were trying to play competitive Magic the Gathering as their career. They've sort of been, I suppose, left out in the cold would be the appropriate term, because I don't have any other information on this from my perspective. And yeah, I don't know. You guys have any thoughts on this? This is a really big deal because it's been around for a long time.
You want to go spin or?
No, you go ahead.
I would just say like it's very like concerning that this can just like kind of get pulled out of nowhere, if it makes sense. Like
Yeah.
it's very concerning like that these careers are basically like just on the ride of whatever the CEOs decide and it can just come out of nowhere, right? Like for players, for coaches, for orgs, like you feel like you're like invested in this league and then suddenly the league's just gone, right?
Oh,
And we should
Yep.
wonder,
yeah.
like, first off, where does the money go, right? Like, where does any of this go? Where is the contracts related to this? You know, like, it would be like mid-season league just cutting, like, a region off, right? Like, it's not even like, I don't know if it's like the end of a circuit or if the circuit's going on right now or what the schedule was for it, but I would hope it's at least in like the off season to a degree. But I mean, with a card game, it feels like
Yeah.
of anything, a card game feels like it does have like kind of a finite lifespan, if that makes sense. Where it's like eventually you can't just keep adding cards, which I mean they're gonna do anyways. But
I mean, but
um,
Magic has existed for like
but Magic
25,
has just kept
30
adding cards.
years at this
26 plus
point.
years,
Like,
about 26
So
plus years.
makes you
It,
wonder.
it's very long,
and it's
long
not like
standing.
they're killing Magic completely. I feel like they're still going to be making cards and adding cards. They're just like, I do you know if is there a pro league for
Yes, there
the
is.
online
Oh, for the
card
online.
game for like Magic
I don't
Arena
know.
or Or
Don't
like,
know.
is this specific to just like, okay, we're killing the physical card tournaments and we're still gonna do stuff with Magic Arena? Yeah, obviously we don't have all the details there, but yeah, but
Yep.
this feels very similar to Blizzard with the HOTS thing, where there's like one day they're just like, nope, we're killing it. It's
Nope,
dead.
it's gone.
Like we don't want it anymore. It's not make. I guess they're not making enough money, or they want to dedicate their resources to something else, or maybe they just want to put more money in the bigwigs' pockets. So who knows?
I mean, maybe it's a bit of both. Like, I mean, maybe it's just kind of a matter of like profit margins and how much are they actually making off the league, viewership and stuff, and just decided it was time. Same with HOTS. I
Well,
mean,
yeah. Well, if they were, so first of all, I don't know personally if they have professional play for Magic Arena. I know that they have had they've had tournaments for it. Obviously, I can't imagine they didn't, or they wouldn't have. As far as like pro Magic Arena play, I would think unless you're like full time streaming, you're not a pro, if that makes sense. Um, so but I wouldn't be that surprised if Wizards of the Coast kind of wanted to push players towards Magic Arena because I imagine it's cheaper
Yeah,
and potentially more lucrative than the physical play. That isn't to say that physical play doesn't make money, but I think the online version of these things, as we've seen from Hearthstone, is you can make a lot from it if you have a player base for it, which Magic the Gathering has. So it could be that, but we don't really know. They did say in here that it says the 2022 season's primary goals are to sunset the current system of play and allow us the freedom and flexibility to create a new play system for the future. But I don't know, like if you're just basically saying that this is the end of um supporting Magic as a career path, it just feels like, okay, well, then your new play system isn't built on supporting players to play your game professionally. So what does that
yeah.
even mean then?
What does it really mean to be the best Magic player if there's no like definitive way to determine you're the best Magic player, right?
Exactly.
Anymore?
Yeah, if there's no
But
definitive way for that, what is the point?
like, at this point, does it just become Magic the Gathering Online is like the only way to play the game, basically? Like, just for fun? Like, is there a rank system on there? I assume it would
Yeah,
be.
there is.
Like,
Yeah.
and that would be like the only real like thing, but you're not gonna get anything for it. So what's the point in grinding this card game as opposed to any other one? I guess, other
Right.
than you like it more.
Right.
Um,
Definitely
so I know a lot of
understand.
people who switch from like Hearthstone's paywall to like Runeterra, right? Just because less of a paywall, similar style of game, and it's a TCG online, right? Off of a big brand.
Yep.
And those card game skills kind of do transfer over from what I've heard. So
Oh yeah,
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 card game
sure they
skills
do.
transfer from game to game. They do, 100%.
it's just understanding how the systems work and how to use it the best. But
Exactly. That's exactly it. It all translates. It just does.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean this is all a little bit vague. It sounds like they have some sort of plans to have some sort of thing in the future. They're like, okay, we're sunsetting this current system and create a new play system. So yeah, I don't.
but if
It sounds
it's
like they have plans for something. We just don't know what it is, and they said they're not. It's not going to be, supporting Magic as a career path. So it's not definitely not going to be as lucrative as it was before. I'm
yeah,
sure. So
it's just not going to be as competitive. What I think.
I guess they did
Um,
announce that it is like a wind down period. Like they give them a year to adjust and pivot. So
yeah, I guess that. Yeah, sure.
yeah, so
They give you some time.
it's not like Heroes where they literally just said you're done now. That's it. Um,
You're done.
you're fired. Who? All of you, everyone.
You're just all done.
Yeah.
That's what it's. You're
But
done. The numbers didn't crunch out.
it is sad to see for what is the biggest card game in the world,
Oh
right?
yeah, absolutely. It's well, yeah, okay.
Do you think games like Runeterra and other card games like coming in is part of the reason why this happens?
Part
'Cause
of
I don't know how the popularity ranks amongst the card games anymore.
Well, Wizards' problem was they originally had Magic the Gathering Arena, which was probably one of the worst user experiences I think I've seen for a card game.
Oh.
And so they tried to do digital, and they did it terribly because they just didn't know what to do with it. They didn't know how to make it, so they made it literally Magic. So okay, we're just gonna make this look exactly like physical Magic the Gathering, which doesn't actually translate well. And then Hearthstone trots, Blizzard trots in with Hearthstone, and they're like, oh, this digital space makes tons of money. How can we transition to that? And then they developed Magic Arena, which is the new online client, which looks infinitely better. And my assessment is that somebody looked at the Pro Tour and said, "Wow, this costs a lot of money. Magic Arena doesn't cost as much money, and we make a lot from it. So where do we want to re-put our resources?" I mean, that could just definitely not be the case, but the digital card game space is a lucrative space, and it just so happens that the cost, because you don't have to print any cards, you don't have to print any physical cards. You can define your own marketplace, which is actually a really big deal. You don't have to go through any third-party vendors. It's surprisingly cheap that way. So it's like you get to just, instead of having to pay out some of the money to distribution and then your vendors that sell, like Target, for example, Target takes a cut, then you have to distribute, and distributors take some. Now you can say, well, wait, we can just have an app online, and we're the distributor and we're the marketplace. So we actually pocket all that cost that would have gone into physical cards. So, I mean, like, I could see some big head at Wizards of the Coast looking at those numbers and going, huh, why aren't we pivoting all our resources to this? Why are we still doing this? Because of tradition. But at the same time, like, eventually somebody's going to go, hey, look, like, this number is lower than the other. Like, one costs less than the other. That's just what's going to happen. It's just the nature of things. Unfortunately, in this case, unfortunately, because Magic Pro Tour, Magic the Gathering is this long-standing tradition, and yeah, the digital space has come in here and made that, and put that tradition in some jeopardy, which I don't think should be surprising. So
For sure.
any other thoughts, Josh, Spoon?
No.
Move on.
Okay. The next thing which we added today was the hot tub meta took a hit. I believe Tricourage posted this initially, and then I posted a follow-up video which I won't play here. I'll summarize it. But the post here, it's a tweet from Amaranth, who's the hot tub queen, one of them at least, and at some point in time, she discovered that in her channel dashboard, if you go into your channel dashboard and you look into insights and analytics, it shows all your different monetizations from your stream, one of which being advertising, and she discovered she was no longer making advertising money. And as a follow-up to this, it turns out she was not getting any advertiser money since about the little bit over the first week of May, I believe. It was like something between the 7th and 9th. She discovered via her partner manager that she wasn't receiving any more money. Okay? And she discovered it on this May 18th tweet. So seemingly after 9 days, possibly a little bit more, she discovered she was no longer making ad money. The extra bit to this is Twitch didn't notify her or her partner manager that she was doing something wrong to get advertising suspended on her channel. Okay. And we all know why she got advertising suspended on her channel.
What?
I feel like it's obvious. So
what? You mean riding a banana in a hot tub in a
yeah,
bikini
it's
was possibly not child friendly?
it's crazy that Twitch decided, oh, this might not be advertiser friendly in some cases, which is kind of weird. I think it's like a little interesting because, I mean, Trojan Condom is an advertiser on Twitch. I feel like that would actually be I feel like they would want to be advertising on her stream. But I
No
guess
one on
Twitch-
that stream's getting laid, Auto.
I'm just saying, like, they might want to, though. They might want to. There might be a connection there, or a beat like whatever, like Miller Lite. Maybe Miller Lite would want to do that. That would make a little.
The
bit
Bud
sense.
Light analyst desk.
So, well, for Twitch, everybody's getting the Trojan condom ad. We're all getting that, but so I'm like kind of like intrigued. I'm like, okay, but I feel like these condom ads would actually work really well on her channel. But the point being that Twitch just sort of went behind her back and the partner manager's back, I should add. Partner manager being a part of Twitch, the company, and Twitch, somebody at Twitch who's, I would guess, fairly high up, to go behind the back of the partner manager, just said, yeah, let's just turn it off.
Let's just see if they don't notice. Like,
let's just turn it off.
I think it's like,
oh, go ahead.
If they're gonna turn it off, like, they're gonna find out eventually. Like, you're not just gonna be like,
absolutely.
all right, no more money for you, and they'll never realize it's fine. It's just ad revenue. It's just like half of your income on Twitch when you're that big of a streamer.
Yeah, you'd have to be blind not to see that.
Though apparently, from what I heard, ads were still running on her stream.
That's correct.
Oh,
So that's the other bit. So that's the other
So
bit.
Twitch still makes money.
So
even though she wasn't making any money from it. There's
Twitch
just
makes 100% of the profit themselves.
still rolling the ads.
Yep. I actually forgot that bit for a second there. So Trojan condom would still be going on there, but she wouldn't be making money from it. Okay, so let's do our opinions on this. I want to hear your opinions on this. So who wants to give the first opinion on this? And you can pick and choose which parts of it you can have an opinion on. Daj, do you want to start, or Spoon, do you want to start?
Yeah. I think I have a pretty simple opinion.
Okay, go ahead, Daj.
Should the stream get ad revenue? Probably not. Should there be transparency? Yes. Is Twitch famous for being really, 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 really bad at transparency? Also, yes.
Correct.
It's not quite as bad as YouTube with their ads and with certain things. For revenue wise, Twitch is usually a bit better. But it is concerning as a small creator. As we all are small creators on Twitch. And the little followings we do have, like, every little bit counts, right? And for a big person, it might not matter to not get ad revenue, but like you still have to give that transparency, unless we have another thing like DMCA, where suddenly DMCA is in and everyone just has strikes on their Twitch, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it's for like clips that are like years old too, before these rules existed, right?
Yeah.
So I think like the biggest worry about this is transparency and the ability of these like larger entertainment corporations to just basically say, you're gone. That's it. We said so. It's now against our rules. Bye. Yeah. I don't hate the decision by Twitch. I just think they have to communicate these things, or else it's just going to keep causing backlash. But again, until they have a competitor, what are you going to do about it?
Yep. I agree. Pretty much with all that. 100% agree with all that. I will say, though, that I don't know the specifics of her ad revenue, obviously, on Twitch. But if I had to guess her entire pie of money for Twitch, I'm actually going to put her OnlyFans in there, because my guess is she directly advertises her OnlyFans somewhere on Twitch. Somewhere in there. I'm guessing that ad revenue is a very small piece of that pie. Like a very, very small one by comparison to everything else. So
yeah, no, probably
yeah, not. She should be upset about it because it's still money out of your pocket. But this is one thing where it's just like, if I'm doing a hot tub stream, I don't care if I don't get the money, because everything else I do is much bigger of the pie, and me doing a hot tub stream makes that pie grow even bigger, regardless of if the ads are turned off. So Twitch doing this won't change anything. The only thing that Twitch did here is just make themselves look bad. That's the only thing that they accomplished today, because those hot tub streams are not stopping. This is not preventing any of that. And I think it's just funny that, like, oh, maybe if we suspend the advertising, they'll be less inclined to do it. No, that is a really poor assumption. So, Spoon?
Simps be simping.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree with what you guys have been saying. Twitch is doing what Twitch usually does, and that's be very opaque and non-transparent with their decisions and what they're doing. And yeah, whether I find the content in question objectionable or whether it should be on the platform at all is irrelevant. Twitch has decided up to this point, at least, that it is allowed on the platform, as they have not done anything to stop it or shut it down
Right.
until this point, basically, where they're like, oh, I guess we're just gonna take ad revenue away without telling anybody and still run ads
And
on
still
your
run ads.
channel.
Yeah,
That's
those
the
first they
weird
still
part.
run ads on their own.
Yeah, they still run
And
the ads. Yeah, and
for
she could run ads. She could still run ads.
yeah, and of course
Probably did.
she
Yeah.
could run manual ads if she wanted to. I'm sure they didn't take that button away from her. Um, so yeah, I mean, if okay, here's they need to be more transparent. We've talked about that already. The other thing, if they are going to allow this kind of content on their platform, then they need to have some advertising partners that are okay with it and that are willing to advertise on a stream like that. They can't just like I feel like they just need to, if they're gonna allow this kind of content, they need to support that type of streamer as much as they support every other type of streamer and not, you know, discriminate, quote unquote, in a way for,
Sure.
you know, because they're this type of streamer. Either that or they just need to, inform and say like, hey, actually we're not okay with this content on our platform and you need to find something else to stream.
You just need to you just need to stop doing it.
So
They should just say
they're
that.
they're kind of floating around in the gray area right now. They're not really taking a firm stance on it, and I agree, it's making them look really bad.
It's just pissing me off too. It's just like just pick something. If you're gonna allow a hot tub streamer to do a hot tub stream, just let them do it, and just cater their ads to be something very specific. Like again, Trojan condoms, fine. Beer, fine. Whatever. But if there's like a certain advertiser like, yes, I would not like to advertise on these channels that happen to be doing hot tub streams, then Twitch should be able to facilitate that and say, okay, this person, don't give them this ad that happens to be like an ad for a certain audience. We don't want them to see this ad. Or we just don't want our ads running on this particular channel. Whatever. Or just say it doesn't. It's just not allowed. Just say it's not allowed, Twitch. But they're riding the gray area here because they're probably like we're like rock in a hard place. They're just stuck. They're stuck here, in my opinion. They're kind of stuck here. If they don't allow the hot tub streams, they're going to be called the sexist site. They're just sexism. This is sexism. Blah, blah, blah. If they do keep allowing it though and let it just stay, people are also going to be upset at them because like, well, what is this? This looks like an 18+ site now. So they're kind of like just in this weird spot, and their solution is to not go in either direction, but to stick right into the middle, and they're just going to piss everybody off. It's an interesting choice.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that sounds it's the most Twitch choice possible.
It's the Twitch choice. It's like, well, how can we piss everybody off? Let's just be in the gray area.
I feel like the biggest thing is making sure you mandate streamers that have this content have the 18+ tag on, right? Because that's the least they could do, right? Is basically making sure the 16-year-old has to click the yes button before they see the Hooters stream.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's the little things. Like I put it on my stream just because I say a lot of coarse words, we'll say sometimes.
A lot of naughty things.
A lot of bad words and innuendos.
Sure.
But I mean, if they're not going to police anything, then just don't police anything, right? Don't just like don't be shady, Twitch. Just all people ask for is transparency with companies. I don't get why it's so hard not to just say what's happening. Like, it's not in this case. It's not easier to ask for permission than forgiveness. It's just easier to say I'm doing this and then ask for forgiveness, right?
Like we're doing,
but at least say it.
Yeah, this is just a Twitch thing. Like, oh, we're gonna ride the gray area, or we're not gonna give a firm answer on this, and we're gonna say we're gonna enforce certain rules. It's so funny to me, by the way, Twitch has very interesting enforcement policies on some of the rules. For example, Daj, you mentioned, like you said, simp earlier. Simp is against
Oh
terms of
my
service.
god, that's right. That's against terms of
And they
service
said they
now.
were going to enforce that pretty heavily. Obviously, they're not going
Oh.
to enforce it on this channel because there's like 5 people in here. But the point is, they're like, oh, you say that word, you're done for.
Can you
But
call someone a simpleton, but just emphasize the simp?
well, but like the other thing is, like, I've seen other streamers do far worse things than just say simp, like say far worse things. But Twitch is like, we're not going to enforce it. I'm just like, Twitch,
We saw
you
a
pick
streamer
and
kick a
choose the
cat.
weirdest battles. Sorry, what?
We saw a streamer yeet a cat and didn't get punished for
Yeah,
3
I mean, it's
months.
just like Twitch picks the weirdest battles to fight, and they're like, this is a battle that they could very easily just take a very specific stance and take on, and they just refuse to do it. They're just like, well, you can press this not interested button, which, by the way, doesn't work if you do very specific filters. You could do that. We're gonna suspend advertising on some of these hot tub streams. I would be curious to see if it was all the hot tub streams, by the way, not and if it's just, or if it's just her.
There's no one else noticed yet, basically.
Yeah, maybe it's just everybody else. I'm sure all of
How
them are
did,
checking.
how did this trend even come about? Did someone just like try it and they're just like, let's see if Twitch bans me?
Somebody tried it and it was popular.
That's literally like they read through the rules, went, well, it's not in the rules, I can't do it.
Exactly. Well, they're like,
and then
the rules are like, oh, if it's appropriate attire for a situation, like if you're near a beach or you're in water, then it's fine. And
Right.
it's
oh
like
my god.
anybody's gonna try and skirt the line to make an extra few bucks.
So as long as they're technically in a kiddie pool in their room, it counts.
It just so happens that sex is extremely lucrative. If that wasn't the case, a third of the internet wouldn't be porn. But it's just like,
it's really only a third.
I mean, like, of course streamers are going to do it. It's just like, if you're attractive, whether you're male, female, or whatever else you go by, and attractive people happen to be people you want to watch, maybe in a hot tub with less clothing. Sure, if you can get away with doing that, why not? That's just like, okay, if I can make a lot of money doing that, sure. Then
it's free OnlyFans.
Yeah, it's just like, and to be fair, like, that still requires a lot of effort to stay fit and things like that. So it's not like they're not doing anything. Yeah. They're clearly going to the gym. They're clearly doing other exercise. But of course, you're going to skirt the line. If it's like, oh yeah, if I can just go do my yoga on a beach with my bikini, and I happen to look great doing it, and I can make more money doing that, and Twitch,
I should be able to monetize that.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
I don't see any reason that these streamers shouldn't be allowed to monetize sexuality, because that's just the world we live in. That sex sells. This is why OnlyFans exists. This is why Pornhub is very popular and various things. People are interested in this media. That's just how it goes, right? And I think people should be allowed to monetize their attractiveness. That's how it is. I wish I could, but I can't. So that's how it goes, right? It's like, you do whatever you can to create your brand on a platform, right?
Yeah.
Whether you're a top tier gamer, just an attractive person, or an attractive personality, right? That's what it boils down to in the grand scheme of things. And it eventually comes down to, are advertisers willing to put their brand on those titles, right?
Right.
Are they willing to attach their brand to this very stream, right?
Yeah.
And it's a cost versus relationship, right? Where, like, am I losing enough business for the 12-year-olds that it doesn't make up for the 18-year-olds? And the answer is no.
Right.
So.
And I do think there are plenty of brands,
what it is.
Plenty of brands would want to advertise there. I just want to point that out.
For sure.
Plenty of brands would. So I just feel like, yeah.
Pornhub probably would like to.
I just wish Twitch would make a choice. I personally don't like the hot tub meta because I just think it's lazy. I think it's just lazy. It's just like kind of lazy content. In that it's just like a very like simple premise that I wish had more behind it, if you know what I mean. Like, I wish there was a bit more creativity around it. Not lazy in the fact that, like, somebody's doing it.
Let's flick a switch and see if they notice.
It's like, hey, look, like, you're clearly working out. You're clearly putting a lot of effort into keeping in shape. Like, it's very obvious. So that part, it's not lazy. But I'm just like, okay, it's just like you're sitting in a kiddie pool. Come on. Can you can we like maybe do a little bit more with that? Something else that's interesting behind that? I don't know. Um, but anyway, I just wish Twitch would make a choice. I just really wish they'd make a choice and figure it out. Okay, Spoon, any thoughts?
Nope. I think we've exhausted this issue, and we should move on.
Okay. Oh my god. Okay, there we go. Mario Golf Super Rush. We had an overview trailer that was posted with all the various different, I imagine, characters, game modes, things of the like. Spoon, I assume you watched this. Can I assume that, or is that incorrect that you didn't watch it? Because I didn't.
I did watch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I watched a bit of it.
Oh,
It was
you
a few
both
days
perfect. You two can summarize it a bit while I
Charging
go
Chuck's
down
a
to
cheater.
the roster of the game.
Charging Chuck cheats. All right, Spoon, you want to talk about it? Did you watch the whole thing?
I did. I mean, I don't like. I'm having trouble remembering the details, but they went over the like they showed the roster. You know, each character is going to have like a special ability, and I'm sure they'll have like different.
Some of them overlap, actually.
Yeah, I'm
They
sure
do.
some of them overlap, but I'm sure they'll all have different. Like power and in the previous Mario Golf games, each
Basic stats.
yeah, they'll have like different stats. Like Mario hit the ball pretty straight, and he was pretty honestly. Actually, Mario was really good in general, but like
Mario was really good.
he hit the ball straight and he hit it pretty far. But you see, I have like Bowser for example, who just had like a wicked freaking slice or a hook on I don't remember which on his ball, but he hit it really far. Like he had super strong power.
It
So
goes like to the right.
yeah.
I played this
So
game
yeah,
like last year. Funny enough.
the characters have different stats, and they're each going to have a special ability. And they went over some of the main modes, the speed golf, which they've like previewed and talked about a little bit before, where you hit you're trying to complete the hole as quickly as possible. It's like a time challenge instead of a stroke challenge. But it looks like you can, there's certain power-ups you can collect around the way to make yourself run faster, and you can have these super, those special shots that can like knock other people's balls out of the way or freeze the ground or just these certain things. So you're not just
Playing golf.
all playing golf at the same time and trying to complete it faster. It's got that Mario spin where you're going to be
Like
able
Mario
to
Kart, yeah.
Yeah, you're going to be able to disrupt your opponent's shots and, their position and stuff like that. So, it seems like a cool twist um on golf. And I think that mode will be interesting. They also talked about another mode, which I think was newly announced in this trailer. It was like this battle mode where you're all on the same like course at the same time, but the holes are really spread out. And you can go to like any hole you want at any time, and the first to like complete 3 holes and capture 3 holes wins the match, basically. Um, and then there's going to be story mode where you use your Mii and you can level up, and there's RPG elements, and you go through the golf tour. And that was kind of
PGA Tour.
that was the kind of the gist of the gist of the trailer.
Okay.
I guess they talked about some like other like challenge and practice modes and like stuff like that you're kind of showing here.
Where's my Roy McIlroy?
Oh, thank God! Motion controls. I'm
Oh yeah,
in.
Let's
and
go.
and you can play with motion controls if you want to.
I can't wait to
Which-
absolutely destroy this corner of the room.
Which like probably would be fun to do, but you're
Once
you're
or
gonna be
twice.
you're gonna be worse at the game playing with motion controls than playing with the buttons. Like
I wish they would leave some things ambiguous. Like I wish they would show like they would leave some characters hidden, right? Like they wouldn't show all 16 right away because it kind of like it's a little disappointing when like you just have all the characters. I like the outfits. I think the outfits are really cool.
The outfits are great.
And can we talk about how Mario sports games are like the off-brand Mario that you love every time? Like, is there a Mario sports game that is bad? Strikers, easy S tier Mario game.
Oh God,
Like
Strikers
that's
is
like the
great.
top of Mario's games. Mario Sluggers, I think also up there. Same with Toadstool
Yeah.
Tour.
Mario
Karts are fantastic. Mario Party is fantastic. Like the off games are just as enjoyable, if not more enjoyable, than a lot of the main series
really is?
games for just platformers. But
Super Rush. Oh my
I
god.
I want
so
Super
good.
Slugger. I want
Oh,
another baseball one.
I,
I
w-
want Super Slugger. It's good.
I want Strikers so bad.
Oh,
Give
yeah,
me a
strikes.
Strikers port.
Yeah.
Online Strikers 2-on-2. Can you imagine how sick that
Yeah.
would be?
I don't
Like,
really even like soccer very much, but Mario Strikers
no,
was such
but
a
it
good
was
game.
but it was so good. Like
This
dry
game-
bones is like electrocuting the goalie.
This
Like,
Super Rush mode is wonderful. I'm just like watching it,
Yeah.
and it's just pure chaos, and I love
this looks
it.
Yeah.
this looks like the exact like friendship ruining stuff you want out of a Mario Party game.
Exactly.
Right?
This looks great.
Like
Yeah.
someone's gonna leave like victorious, and the rest are gonna be
Oh my God.
absolutely livid about how the game went.
Oh my god, Waluigi. Yep.
It's
Yeah, of course.
it's just the right amount of chaos that you expect from a
Yeah.
Mario
And-
Party or Mario
and
Sports
you have like
game, basically.
and you have some newcomers to sports games like Bob-omb. We've never seen in a sports game before, actually, other than a projectile. You have Pauline making her debut in like
Debut,
another
yep.
Mario game. She was in tennis.
Yeah, aces.
As a DLC. And then you have Boo's back for like the extra characters, and we have Chargin' Chuck out of nowhere. Who,
Chargin'
by the way, his
Chuck.
special, he cheats. He picks up the ball and yeets it and just
Dude,
throws it.
Hell
It's
yeah.
like, Chuck, you can't do that.
That's what I want to play. Dude, I'm playing as Charging Chuck. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Just pick up the
He's
ball,
also just
throw it.
wearing his football attire, like
Oh,
with the
great.
helmet and everything.
I hope there's a few. I hope there's a few unlockable characters that they haven't shown yet. There may not be. And I also hope there's kind of just like these modes look cool, but I don't want to play these modes every time. There might be a time where I just want to play like tournament mode, where I just go and play golf, like play the regular course without all these gimmicks. Right? I hope that still exists, like from Toadstool Tour or something like that, where I can just play a tournament,
A normal course,
on a
like
course.
just a normal golf course. Well, normal for Mario Golf.
Yeah.
I hope the warp pipes are back. I think that mechanic was really cool in Toadstool Tour, where certain pipes would actually lead you to different pipes across the course. But yeah, Mario sports games are good. I mean, this game will probably be good.
This game looks really fun.
Until Mario shows me a bad sports game, like every single one of their off-brand games, I feel like absolutely hits. Between sports, Mario Party, and even what was the other one? The tower defense or the strategy one? Raven Rabbits one.
Rabbits,
Rabbits, yep.
Rabbits.
Wasn't that one like super good? I heard that was like a really outstanding game.
I played it a little bit. I didn't really get into it, but it was cool. Like I could have seen it being pretty darn good. Like yeah.
But I'm ready for some golf action. I'm ready to get back on the course. I played PGA 21 for a little while, for a couple months. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yeah. Also,
golf's fun.
let's just as a quick mention, this game and Scarlet Nexus come out on the exact same day,
Oh Jesus Christ!
which is a Friday, June 25th.
Oh no!
That's just a rip. It's just like, okay.
Why?
Imagine Spoon having a free weekend.
No.
Megan's not going to hear
So-
from you for like 3 days and be
Oh.
concerned.
This is horrible. It's tragic.
That's not gonna happen.
It's what?
Okay, you play golf. He'll play the other one.
Tragic. It's a tragedy that both those games come out in this. Oh.
I hope there's like different like clubs too, like actual golf, like Toadstool Tour. We were sitting like go filter through a couple irons, figure out your do you need a wedge here, Don't let me take the driver on the actual fairway, because who's gonna use the driver on a fairway?
I just want to be charging Chuck and throw the ball over. I just want to throw.
I just want to be Charging Chuck, dude. Charging Chuck's a monster.
Get the.
Where's Charging Chuck? Where's the Mario football game? They have a big enough cast for it. You could put Toads out in the offensive line,
Let's get a soccer game. Let's get the soccer game back.
Get Strikers 3, please. Bring Strikers
please
Charged.
get
Give it a
Strikers.
remake.
Give me
Port it.
Strikers
Just port it. I don't
and
even
baseball.
care.
Give me Striker.
Remake Strikers with an online mode and a like more expansive story mode, because that was very thin back
Mhm.
then. And man, I would buy that in a heartbeat. I feel like it's got to be coming. Like the sports games have to be coming. Mario Golf is just like it's the floodgates for the Switch.
They're coming. They're coming. All right.
They're coming.
Any other thoughts before I move on?
Charging
Nope.
Chuck charges
This
into
game-
golf.
This game looks great. This game is gonna be a hella good time.
It's gonna be
It's
great.
gonna be awesome.
This is gonna be a good weekend.
Some people are gonna be really
25th will a
upset.
good weekend.
People are gonna be really upset with golf.
Okay. Next thing I've got. For those of you that don't know what New World is, feel free to take a nap. While I discuss all of my fears coming true with this game. So I'm gonna skip this long worded note from Rich Lawrence, the studio director. And I'm going to focus actually right down into the comments of this. The first comment was on this tweet. The more players who are able to experience all of our excited endgame content and game modes, the healthier it is for all players. That sounds to me that you want to rush people to endgame with boosts and other stuff. Sounds really bad to me. Just let people enjoy the journey. Now, New World is an MMO. Okay? You don't rush things in MMOs. At least from what I've played. MMOs take time. It takes some time to get to endgame. And I would say that like that's kind of part of the experience. So what this person is saying is, hey, are you going to add in like an EXP boost for people to purchase so that they can get there faster? Which would mean that there's some pay to win elements. Okay? New World says, it isn't about rushing people to the end game. It is about supporting people who don't have as much time to play and helping them reach the end game with the time available to them. Okay, now let me follow because this is an important train of thought here. The next commenter, who was different from the first, says, if you see, by the way, the grammar here is not great. I'm going to do my best. If you see your content as skippable or not relevant, then buying a boost is a good way to get into real content. Then you have failed to create an interesting content progression. Make leveling faster if you care about people wasting their time or if endgame is all you care about. Okay? New World responds, MMOs take a tremendous time investment that not everyone has available. Boosts can be a way for someone who doesn't have time to get more out of the time they can play and support the game and community in another way. Okay. So this was what I feared would happen. I think Spoon and Spoon, we talked about this, and I distinctly recall you mentioning, oof, I hope they don't put a boost in this game that you can purchase. I feel like you mentioned this because we talked
I'm not
about
sure
it in AC.
I mean, we talked about this last week, and I probably said I hope they don't, but I'm kind of expecting there to be it. There, like I'm not surprised by this in the slightest. By the way, not even a little bit. Like this is just a thing these days. It's gonna be there.
I will say I was surprised. I was only surprised because putting a purchasable boost in a game like this, like an MMO like this, it just feels like a terrible idea. It just feels like a really terrible idea. And I was like, okay, these guys, you know, they haven't really done anything too stupid recently. Maybe they're smart enough to not say anything. Maybe they'll just not have it. Maybe they're smart enough to not have it. And I was wrong.
Yep. We're very wrong.
I was so wrong. And I'm not going to say like that kills the game for me because like for me, I don't really care if somebody gets to end the game faster than me. That's not really my thing. And I have no plans on purchasing these boosts. My only concern is, okay, how long is it going to take to level given you've actually put this in the game? And I think my second concern is like, what's the cost of buying a boost? How much are you pricing your boost at?
Well, yeah, and like, is it a timed thing? Is it like, oh, do I buy it once and then I just have boosted XP forever?
Right.
Is it, you know, again, does it last for a certain amount of time? Does it last for a certain amount of like only like 2 levels, 3 levels, whatever? I like what is the model here? Because it really depends. Because I think in Assassin's Creed it's just like a one-time purchase, right? And it's like, okay, you just have it.
I don't even know. I never looked at it.
That was my understanding. I don't know for sure either.
I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was that way. I can't imagine it being timed. Like you pay $10 for it. If it was timed at that point, it would just be really frustrating. It's just like I don't know. Like this is something that if it wasn't purchasable in the store, but maybe after certain level progression points, they're like, okay, hey, you just hit level 10. Here's double XP for the next 48 hours you play or something like that, or the next even the next week. Like they're just like, hey, look, like you hit level 10, here's like an X amount of hours experience boost that everybody would hit if they got to level 10.
Yeah, I mean, well, like, and as Ghost is saying in the chat right now, like I used to play WoW, and in WoW, at least early on, I don't know if they still do it, if you you would gain boosted XP for just being logged out for a while.
And then it
and
would, when you
and if you
return, you
sat,
got it. Yep.
yeah, and if you just like sat and rested in an inn, you would get more. It was like
Sure.
rested experience basically. And there was a cap, I think, on how much you could get based on how long you were logged off, but yeah, it just accumulated when you were logged off. So
God, that sounds like a really good idea. That actually sounds like a really good idea to incentivize. Okay, hey, look, you had to take like several days off. When you come back, here's your EXP boost. So, I that's a great idea.
See, I
I
like
wish New World would do that.
but it doesn't
an
make
old
money for the company.
an old MMO I played called Puzzle Pirates. You buy this currency you buy like in-game currency that you could buy with money or with like enough other in-game currency, basically to get the premium like access to different like the full slate of things like monster hunting or whatever, right? So you could buy doubloons with pieces of eight. Pieces of eight are like the general currency, right? And so you buy these doubloons, and the doubloons allow you to buy like Sea Hunter badges for 30 days, right? But it's not 30 days; it is 30 login days. So if you log in today, that is one of your 30 days.
Okay.
But if you don't log in for a week, you still have 28 days when you log in the next time, right?
Yeah, that
Which is
that makes some sense.
very old-fashioned because that doesn't make money as much. But yeah, it was a good game. It was fun. But I mean, that system's really really good for older people like me who don't necessarily play the same game every single day in day out.
Right. Like, I do hope that if that's the boosts that are purchasable in New World, that it is that. I hope it's just that, and not just like, okay, you bought a boost, it lasts for 48 hours. When did it activate? Right now. Go ahead, get started.
See you in 2 days.
Oh, yeah, which is also they're talking about like trying to support players who can't play very much. That if it was that model where it lasted for a certain amount of out of game time, that would not be friendly at all to
No, it
people who
wouldn't.
can't play very often.
No, it
That's the
wouldn't.
opposite of what they're saying here.
Right.
That would be like, you bought a boost for a week, like that means I gotta play as much as I possibly can in this week to take
Exactly.
advantage of this boost. That would be so unfriendly. That would be
like a monthly
completely
subscription.
counterproductive to what they're saying right here.
Which that's why I said I hope that's not the case. I don't think they actually say what the boosts
No,
were
they
in
didn't.
any detail, which is probably smart of them because they already took the L for this. So I still have the pre-order up. I'm still intrigued by the game. I'm still hoping Hectic can join me. But man, this guy, this Rich Lawrence, if they keep this up, Rich Lawrence may need to find a new studio to direct because his studio might go under. That's very like this is like the last Amazon game studio that's actually coming out or is in development, at least that we know publicly. All the other ones failed miserably.
Yeah, yeah, I didn't really like their argument here about, oh, people who need to get to end game. It's like, okay, so your leveling experience is just going to be a waste of time. I sure hope not, because that's
Right.
pretty important in an MMO, to be honest.
Right.
And for the people who can't play very much, like people who don't have time to play it, like MMOs enough to level up quickly, they're not going to have time for endgame. And endgame in MMOs tends to be very time consuming.
Yeah, Endgame is definitely a beast. It's like I don't know, like I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking here. It's like, oh, we want to give them some boost so they can get to endgame. It's like, but endgame is like that's more time commitment, even
Yeah.
more so.
If endgame is going to be the only interesting part about your game in an MMO, this is a problem. This is a huge
Maybe make some
problem.
more content for the early game. The early game is what keeps your players playing to get to the end game.
Right.
You shouldn't try to usher them there automatically.
Okay. Any other thoughts? Otherwise, we got one more thing here.
I mean, yeah. Again, this isn't surprising to me that this exists, and I wish they would just be more transparent about it. Like, hey, I mean, it's there because we want to make money. Like, if
Right.
people want to buy it, they can buy it. You don't have to, though. And man, ooh, better not make it just slow as slow as molasses for
everyone else.
non-XP booster. But if you buy the XP booster, then it's reasonable. It's like, no, please don't do that.
If it's
Make it
slow,
reasonable for non-XP booster, and the booster is for people who like want to rush to the end game and like they really want to get there quickly, and make it quite fast for those people. But do not make it slow as shit for everybody and then like reasonable for XP booster
right?
people.
Yeah, that would be really disappointing if it was really slow. Because I feel like I would just refund
Yeah.
as
I
quickly
mean,
as possible.
there's a few like there's a way they can have this where it's fine. It's not that big of a deal. Obviously, it's not ideal, but it's okay. It doesn't ruin the game. But there's some red flags going up. Where we're like, oh, this could ruin the game. This could ruin the game. This could ruin the game.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. This is one. That's one for this one. I feel like this was like the biggest red flag so far for the game. Outside of my own experience playing their preview, I feel like this was the major red flag so far. The preview event was fine, at least for my. Okay, there's one last thing I got on the news doc, and then we'll switch gears to my league thought with Dodge. So we were wrong, Spoon and Dodge. If you've been checking out all of our Stadia talk, Google Stadia is alive and well. We were wrong.
Apparently,
We were wrong. Google Stadia is alive and well. It's flying. It's hitting all the headlines in the right way, and we were wrong. Um, gee whiz, developer marketing lead Nate Ahern, he's on top of it, and we just don't know what we're talking about, or we're out of it because he's saying that Stadia is the greatest. We're well on our way. Oh, sorry. We're well on our way to over 100 new games launching on Stadia in 2021, and we're continuing to make Stadia a great place to play games on devices you already own. I tell any non-believers to take notice of how we're continuing to put our words into action as we grow the Stadia Makers program and partner with AAA studios like Capcom, EA, Square Enix, Ubisoft, and others. He's absolutely right. They put their words into action. When their studio performs really poorly to Google standards, they tell them they're doing a great job, and then they fire them. That's how they put their words into action. That's what they do. So I think Stadia is the next best thing in cloud gaming.
Great job, Jim. Stadia is awesome. Now get out.
Great job, Jim. You're doing a fantastic job. Is he fired yet? Did we fire him yet? No? Okay. We'll just keep telling him he's doing great, then fire him. I don't know. This was just funny to me because this was one of those. I think I woke up in the morning, checked my news feed, and this popped up, and I do recall chuckling a little bit. I was like, oh, okay, sounds good.
Sure, Google.
This is like
Keep telling yourself that.
This is the sequence where like there's a couple of these examples, but this is like the dog sitting in the kitchen when everything's on fire, and he's going, "This is fine. We're fine. Great. We're doing great." I just like, yeah. I don't know how they could come out and say that with a straight face.
Megan asks in the chat, "What is Stadia exactly?"
Stadia.
What is like attempt at making a
Stadia.
gaming console, right? That like
Google.
It's a cloud gaming service.
It's a cloud gaming service.
So it's just
go ahead.
A bad PlayStation network, which is saying something.
It's a bit more than that. So the it's more like PlayStation Live would be a better comparison. That's
not a better comparison
because it's a cloud gaming service, and the ideal situation with cloud gaming service, if it's structured correctly, is you sign up for it in whatever way. Like let's say you just sign up for free, or maybe there's some kind of purchase in it, and when you play games on it, there's no installation. Load times are faster. Ideally, the idea is supposed to be on any device. You boot up the cloud service, and then you just start playing with no installation requirements. on its face.
And no, device
Mm,
requirement. You don't need a console for it. You can
Right.
play it on any PC that has an internet connection, or any mobile
Device,
device that has
yeah.
an internet connection, basically.
Yeah, you have to have a good, yes, you have to have, I would say, a really strong internet connection, because this thing will destroy your data caps.
Which,
Yep.
by the way, good luck having a strong internet connection if it's using a lot of data, because then you're gonna get yourself what you call it
Throttled,
Yeah,
throttled.
You're gonna get throttled.
bottlenecked.
So like if you happen to have all the resources at your disposal, the service theoretically, unless you're like a big, I want my physical games, and I want to make sure I have the physical disc for it, then it's great. It's a really great service, actually. It theoretically makes a lot of sense, and it should work really well for people that, you know, that isn't a requirement for it. That if having the physical copy is like a deal breaker, then you're gonna hate it. But like the cloud gaming service idea is actually a really good one. Somebody tried it some time ago. They were called OnLive, and unfortunately the technology wasn't there. But I was really interested in it, and then it just like the company closed. But it was a great idea. The idea came out like 10 years ago.
Yep, I remember that vaguely.
It was a great
I mean,
service. It really was like a good idea service. It just technology wasn't there yet. But it was a great idea.
it's still a good idea. Google just botched it. And Google should have been the one that could have done it right. They have the infrastructure. They have, the server capacity, and, all that other stuff. With It's freaking Google. They're massive. But as we've talked about, they decided to go with this asinine business model where you have to buy the games on their platform. It should be Netflix for games, where you pay $10 to $15 a month subscription, and you have access to the entire library whenever, wherever you want. And it's just not
Like
that.
the Xbox right now, where like
It's just
Xbox,
not
you can literally
that.
can do that too. Like Xbox already has that now too.
Yeah, they're
I saw that and my friends.
Yeah, but that's not cloud. I mean, well, they do have xCloud, but
It's
like
very
game.
similar, where it's like a cloud service where you can just download other games that you haven't bought, because you have the subscription fee, right?
Well,
Yep.
that's Game Pass, but there is an xCloud service that did go into
Yeah.
beta at some point, which is that's cloud gaming.
Yeah.
Actually, the best thing that happened out of this, at least for everybody else, is everybody else saw what Google did and said, let's just not do that. And nobody else is doing that. Everybody was like,
man,
huh.
Google, that was a great idea for a cloud gaming service. Let's just not do that terrible business model. That, like, before people were excited for Stadia because they're like, oh, it's Google again. They have the infrastructure. This is going to be great. It's going to be Netflix for games. It's just going to be a streaming service for games.
Right.
And then they announced the business model, and everyone was like, oh,
it was like, what?
Well,
bum bum ba bum.
Yeah,
I guess not.
Well, there you go. That's it.
Which, by the way, they still had a subscription on it.
There's a pro
pay a subscription to have 4K and like faster speeds, and I don't know, some other stuff.
Like faster speeds don't matter if you're gonna get throttled.
You also get a library of free games.
Oh yeah, I
that
forgot.
Are part of this pro service, but I don't know.
It's
those
pretty.
game lists.
It's. I don't think it's a great library. I think Destiny 2's in there.
Destiny 2's on there, so
that.
that's all you really need, right? But it's so funny because like Amazon, which by the way, Amazon I would think has a great infrastructure for something like this. They're doing a subscription model for about $6 on their initial release of Luna, and Microsoft's doing this. And I think PlayStation does have this. They have this like PlayStation Live thing.
I like to go on PlayStation Online.
It's something like that. But yeah, apparently Stadia is great. We're all
so yeah. I mean, again, this is a PR statement. This is a guy who's still working on Stadia. This is just saying, we're good. It's still its thing. I mean, it's like, there's a dead guy in the corner, and you see the corpse twitch. And they're like, "Casey, look, it's alive. It's alive. The corpse twitched over there.
We're
It's
still
not
here.
dead. I swear."
We're still here. It's like, okay.
Right now, Google Stadia is on end of life care. You know, it's on what you call
Life
it.
support.
It's on live support.
It's on life support. Like it is alive, but like eventually Google's gonna pull the plug. This guy's just in denial about it basically because it's his project right now, so he has to be
Oh, and he can't
before he eventually gets fired for it failing.
because I don't think like Google has officially pulled the plug yet. But I mean, I'd be surprised if they didn't within the next year. The year seems generous, but 6 months probably.
This will probably survive for a year more. It's just like I think it'll survive for a year more. They'll put more into it because they're getting they're getting more new titles into it. I would imagine.
Yeah,
it'll probably go for another year.
The thing is, they're saying it's alive and well, or that it's great, but all the other, signs are pointing elsewhere. It's like they closed all their game studios. They shut down a ton of projects. There's a bunch of like high up people within the stadium management that have left or
Yep.
I don't know if they got fired, and it's just like, okay, I mean, I guess you're saying it's alive and well, but again, all the signs are pointing that it is so far from alive and well that
Death approach.
Usually when you see
They-
exoduses like that,
maybe they can save it if they change the business model to the Netflix model or the model that everybody else is doing. Maybe they've got a chance to save it. It's possible, but I feel like Google's too stubborn. They're not going to do it.
they're not going to do it. No, they're not. They're not. They're going to keep butting their head against it because they're like, we're smart. We know what we're doing. It's like, okay.
Yeah. Google thinks they're smarter than everybody. So
okay, guys, good job. You're very smart. So,
Congrats, you are gamers.
good job. Okay. Any other thoughts on this last bit? Otherwise, we'll move on to other things. Okay, Daj, I have a question for you for League, and then we'll do
I have an
the
answer
anime.
for you for League Auto.
Then we'll talk anime stuff. Okay, so for League, here's my thought.
Here's your thought.
It's very clear that would you say before that, would you say C9 was the best North American? Or is there a different team that should have gotten the MSI, but
the team that wins the split deserves to go. I don't care who you say. Just look at G2 in Europe. Mad Lions beat them twice. Mad Lions went to MSI. Mad Lions is performing pretty well.
Okay.
The best teams always go. That's just how it goes.
Otto, you want to swap the overlay back?
Yeah, I could swap the overlay back. That's fine. So, okay, so that's fair. So that then that's fair from you that whoever goes to MSI in their region
would be the best for the region.
Deserves to be there. Okay.
Yeah.
So then C9 deserve to be there. Theoretically, they're the best team in NA. Okay. So they're the best team in NA. They didn't qualify any further, which obviously for NA fans is disappointing or expected, depending on where you're thinking.
A little bit. I think it's both. It's a disappointing expectation.
Right. So for Worlds, you've got, I don't know how many NA teams go to
3.
Worlds at this point. 3. Okay.
So
if you're C9, is C9 guaranteed to go to Worlds at this point, or do
Probably.
they need to probably? Okay. So then,
of the NA team, probably.
Because if you win Spring, you're not guaranteed to go.
No, now it's a running
different.
standings. By the way, the standings from Spring are carrying over into Summer, and will dictate you getting into the last playoff gauntlet for Summer of 8 teams.
Okay. So,
and then the top 3 from Summer goes. So there is no points anymore. There's no carryover points. It is just your standing that carries over.
Okay, but
okay. So it's more like I know there's 2 splits, but it's still more like a full.
It is like
season.
a full season, and then the halfway mark and the mid season.
Yeah. It's like the All-Star game. It's like the All-Star game and
was
baseball.
Like a playoffs.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So whatever Cloud9's record was and everybody else's record was at the end of the first split carries over to the start of the next. So they'll start whatever they are. I don't know what they were.
So. As far as I recall from the explanation they gave us way back when the season started, that is how it's working.
Okay. Here's my question. Here's my question to you. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. So I would say, based on my experience watching it, definitively the the China region and the South Korean regions are the best regions for League of Legends play. Europe being in the mix somewhere as well, and whoever else we want to mention. But China and South Korea, they perform the best. We could argue. Okay, why doesn't the NA team like Cloud9? Assuming that they have like this very good chance of going. Why don't they just decide, okay, let's play half the season with our main team, and then we're gonna take our main team and we're gonna go to China or Korea, and we're just gonna train there. We're just gonna train there for like a couple months during the season.
You mean like just like playing overseas,
Yeah,
basically,
why not?
while your sub roster plays?
We're
performing. A team actually did that once. Funny enough,
I've heard about this. Somebody did that.
CLG
did that
way back when, and lost the last 4 games, and then lost in the first round of playoffs. Just a Silver Comp with the famous Link Dunzo Manifesto.
Mm-hmm.
They do boot camp before events too, is a thing. The issue I think that comes into play is, so the last time we saw Cloud9 was in finals, right?
Yes.
And that was on patch 11.7, we'll say, right?
Yeah.
And then MSI takes place on patch 11.10. So there's like a good 2-3 patch period, like a 2-month period, where they're not playing on the current patch and competitive.
Yeah.
And the game is like updating because just the playoffs take, 4 weeks.
Yep.
You're not playing the playoff series in 1 weekend.
And they always play playoffs on
and you play on the same patch to make it fair. So you're not, with drastic changes don't cause drastic meta issues.
Right.
I think a lot of it comes down to if you have a bad read on the meta, right?
Yep.
Like if you look at Cloud9 back when they were bad. Like when they had Incarnation, Jensen mid lane, and they had High filling in for jungle at Worlds. Like at Worlds, you had High playing still on the C9 roster. Like this man with a cane basically at this point, just blindly walking through the jungle. But the first week they went 3-0. Like they thought for sure they were gonna make it through. They ended up not because they went 0-3 the rest of the week, but they surprised everyone. They went 3-0. Why'd they do it? They came in with a very, very clean game plan where they're like, okay, we're gonna pick this strong carry mid that can create space in Vigar and abuse that fact to create picks and siege turrets, right? And it worked. It was effective. It must have been good in scrims. Must have translated to stage well. And in this case, what they did in scrims probably didn't translate as well. Yes, you have mechanical misplays. Everyone's going to point at Blabber this time because the one play that everyone's going to remember from this MSI for misplays is him flashing at level 3 for a Scuttle Crab and then dying afterwards.
Oh.
He burns his flash, and he dies for first blood for the Scuttle Crab in the river at 3.5 minutes. It is one of the most embarrassing and awful plays you've ever seen from just a gold level of League of Legends. It makes no sense.
Okay.
And
that sounds really bad, by the way.
I don't know why they would it'd be like in Heroes if you one person just willingly goes into the objective even though you're already giving it up.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. The logic.
It'd be like if there was 2 curses on the map, and instead of going for the other curse because you see they're gonna get this one, you're just like, nah, I got this. I'm gonna die for this one.
Yeah, you go what? You get it. You go 1v5 on the other team.
But the value that you get for that first blood is so much greater.
Right.
It was a really bad play. And back to your question though, is why they don't just go to Korea. It's because I don't think it's that simple, right? I think you'd have to have the funds for it. You'd have to basically so far ahead in playoffs that you don't care either about getting first place in standings or about other things. And this split, you had to care. Cloud9 was 13-5 regular season. Then it went 12-6, 12-6, 11-7, 11-7, 10-8 for playoffs.
Sure. Yeah, you'd have to care to some extent.
There's a 3-game gap between first and the last team to cut in. So this year it wouldn't even apply. Last season when they went 17-1 and then didn't make Worlds, might have applied. But I mean, it's weird. It's a really weird thing to see how teams NA just doesn't seem to get better any year. It just seems to be the same story.
I want to decide if I want to sound mean or not. I think I do because I don't care.
Go for it. I don't care.
The talent here isn't good, and I'm not even that.
That's the thing, though. Is it should be?
It should be, but it's not. It should be, but it's not. So you don't have the best talent. So again, it should be, but it's not. Let's just go with that. Okay, it should be, but it's not. And since everybody else is that same pool of it should be, but it's not, you're competing against people who are in the same it should be but it's not pool, which is you're not getting the best play, regardless of what you think. You're never going to get the best play during the season. So you come out, you're scrimming against, I would imagine they're just scrimming other teams in their
Other
same
teams,
region.
yeah.
And those other teams aren't going to be as good as another region's teams. So you're competing consistently against either from a world scale perspective an average or subpar team.
Mm-hmm.
And
at
then,
best.
And then you're expected to go over and boot camp for a month and be like, okay, well, that's going to make the
only
difference.
Be able to take down the other teams.
And that's going to be the difference. And it's just not.
And I think a lot of that you can credit to, like, people always say, like, NA gets all the imports and stuff because they have lots of money and infrastructure. But the thing is, like, you guys realize NA is, like, the 4th biggest region. All of Europe is bigger than North America. Korea has a higher, like, population of, people playing League of Legends.
Mm-hmm.
China is China. They have, like, 4 servers for League of Legends inside of China.
Yeah, China's
like,
China.
Of course China's going to produce young prodigies over and over and over again because they just have a raw, like, sample size to choose from.
Yeah, the pool is bigger.
The competitive pool is bigger. Therefore, the top of Korean ladders, the top of Chinese ladders, and even the top of European ladders are generally players that are up-and-coming talents, right?
And
European players have other leagues, too, to develop. Europe has EU Masters, right?
Yes, they do.
The big tournament with, like, a bunch of minor teams that play. And now NA's starting to get this minor league scene, and we're seeing, all these professional teams. Like, the tournament that just happened, I think it was, I forget what it was. There's a premier tournament that just, like, happened for, like, amateur players, right?
Yep.
Every single LCS orgs team is already out of that tournament after 1 week. Every amateur team every academy team for the NA League is gone. All the other amateur teams have beaten them.
Can I get an idea of
just random 5 people?
How many teams were at the point? Let's include the LCS academy teams. So there's 10 or 12. I don't remember
There's 10.
10. Okay.
10 academy, 10 LCS. So
10 academy teams and X number of amateur teams. Well, they had to beat the academy teams, so 10 amateur teams beat the academy 10 teams.
I don't know if it's like all the academy teams are in there, but like there's at least like 17 teams in this tournament.
Okay. So but again, theoretically, even if half the academy teams were in it, they're all gone. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So your academy team is supposed to be your supplemental talent pool to say, hey, look, we've got either a young player or maybe like, I guess like a player who hasn't made it to LCS yet and we're like trying to figure out where to put them. Like that's supposed to be your pool of like
young talent.
Yeah, that's your young talent, theoretically.
But they're not putting young talent in there. Darshan still plays on Cloud9 Academy. He's at MSI with Cloud9 right now as a sub. Like, you look at the academy rosters, and almost none of them are upcoming talent.
A while.
And don't get me wrong, Darshan is an okay player, right? He's probably like bottom tier LCS caliber at this point.
Yeah.
But at some point, you have to take a chance on rookies. You have to take a chance on younger players. Even CLG is guilty of this. Look at CLG's roster this year. Not a single player is a new player, right? The newest they have is Finn, who was a rookie in LCS last year. So now he's in his second year of professional play. But they have Broxton, who's been around for 2 years now. They have Wild Turtle, who's been around since the beginning. Yeah, Smoothie, who's been around for too long. And you have a mid laner in Pole Belter, who's been around forever as well. Like
it's like it's the definition of insanity. It's like they keep using the same players. Okay, they're mixing and matching them, but it's like at some point it's like, okay, it's not working. Let's do something else.
At some point you have to move on from the washed players. Like or even like you have a long regular season, you have 2 splits. Try out other players. Like I think that's where like I wish the best of 3 system worked like how it should have, where it's like you should be using these games against weaker teams to try out other players. You trust your main roster to 2-0 this team? Great. Put in some young academy players. Like that one weekend back when we had best of 3s where Cloud9 just started their academy roster and they like lost one of the 2 series, but they won the other one with their academy team. And to give them LCS preparation, give younger players a chance. Like the only team we've seen develop and utilize their academy team and bring up players is Cloud9. That's it. Because they constantly are pulling through different players. You know, they had who was the jungler that one time? Contracts. Then they had Blabber. Like they had Sven Skaren come over and played him. Jensen they imported, and he performed really well in switch teams, right?
Yeah.
Tactical last season for Liquid, I'll give him that credit. They promoted him to the main roster, and he performed, right? In place of Double Lift, of all people, who was Double Lift.
Yeah.
So, like, and Contracts was good for that split, Megan. He was really good in that one split. And they split time with Blabber. And like, sure, Cloud9's using Fudge. Fudge looked really well on the MSI stage. He looked great. You know who struggled on the MSI stage? Funny enough, Perks, of all people, was struggling.
Ooh.
Which is showing still like, and he's one of the famously the best mid laners we've ever seen from the Western Front perform on a national stage. You know, he took a G2 team to semis that didn't belong there, and one of the biggest upsets we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's role swapped and took G2 there again. Like, the dude's actually cracked, but isn't performing like he used to. Is it infrastructure? Is it coaching? Like, what is it? Is it the work ethic? Is it like the work structure? We don't know because we don't get enough information on it. But
of course.
we can only speculate. And just I'm fine with NA being the fourth best region. Honestly, like, would it be great to have a super team go and like make a finals run at Worlds? Yes. Is it cool to see when like Liquid and CLG made those finals runs at MSI and lost? Yeah, that was amazing. It was cool to watch.
Right.
But you have to win to have faith. And
yeah,
honestly, just having one or two teams get into like the knockout stage at Worlds, I'm not. It's what you expect. I don't know what people are expecting more than that. Sometimes your number one team loses to other number one teams. That's how MSI goes, and more often than not, we've been on the losing end of that. So
right.
Yeah. The other thing is with the general, like, the tiers you were doing with the infrastructure, esports just. I mean, I know there's a lot of. I guess there's like the most money over here, or that's what they say, but it's like esports just isn't as popular here. Like, esports has existed in Korea since like StarCraft 1 back in the late 90s. Like, I feel like the infrastructure in general for esports is so much better in Korea in like developing young talent and stuff like that. I don't even know how I have no idea how they scout players for like LCS here and stuff like that. They just take people off the top of solo queue ladder. Like, I don't understand.
take the people from Europe, Korea, and China that will come over. Well, mainly Europe and Korea, because China can actually pay their players because Chinese money is as good as us, but we don't talk about that. People forget China. China also has the money NA does. It's just they perform better, so they don't care.
They perform better.
They have better young talent, so they don't have to pay them as much.
I just feel like there's not good infrastructure for someone at this point to like
enter the pro scene.
Yeah, enter the pro scene, or like so like if someone like, for example, if someone wants to, obviously, you know, it's a bit of a, maybe it's not quite the best analogy, but I'm going to use it because it's sports. If someone wants to be a professional baseball player as a kid, they're like, okay, I want to be a professional baseball player, so I'm going to play baseball. I'm going to practice baseball a lot. I'm going to play club baseball. I'm going to play in high school, and I'm going to be the best that I can. And then there are like tryouts. There's scouts around that like look for good players, and then there's the minor leagues and everything else that works. So like you can work towards being a professional baseball player from a young age, and I'm not sure that exists for esports yet. I know esports is pretty new, so
it's getting there with scouting grounds. Like Megan's saying, like they do have like a scouting grounds like trial, like they take challenger players and run a mini tournament like with 4 LCS orgs basically at a time. Like, or maybe even 8 at this point. Like they like draft players and then like make mini teams and then like play a small tournament, and then eventually like the LCS players actually run a draft for these players. Whether or not they sign them is another thing, right?
Yeah, they don't have to sign them.
It's like the baseball draft where like sometimes they can just like they just don't care, right? They're just there so they don't get fined, kind of thing. And like it's getting better, but the results just still aren't there, so people aren't happy. Is what it comes down to. Like, people need to lower their expectations for North American teams, which is something to say when expectations are already pretty low. But people really like get upset when they don't expect anything, and it's like, well, you didn't expect anything. Why are you upset? Like, yeah, they went 3-7 in Rumble stage. At least they got there. At least they didn't like lose in wild cards, you know. At least they didn't they didn't get knocked out by the wildcard regions.
Well,
they lost a game to the Oceanic team. A lot of teams did. They played a lot of teams close. Which, by the way, that is the real story for MSI, is a team from a region that literally got disbanded last year made it to the Rumble stage. Yeah, you lost a game to those guys. Who cares? It's one game. It happens. CLG lost 2 games to wildcard teams that one Worlds. Like
Yeah.
it's
Good
an NA thing.
good teams. Well, even again, I'm going back to just
Good teams exist everywhere.
yeah, and even going back to traditional sports, like good teams lose to bad teams all the time. And like it happens. Like sometimes it's just not your day, or they out game planned you, they outplayed you. Like it happens. It's part of the game. You can lose to a bad team.
They had a pocket pick they pulled out, like you just didn't know about.
Exactly.
Like it happens.
Yeah.
Right, but okay, here's the counterpoint to that. Normally, like you're when you look at the region of NA, if I could take their trajectory of international performance and we took the average performance of probably let's say the 4 big regions, most of them are up here, and then here's the average, and here's NA. We're either up here or we're really far down here. It's incredibly inconsistent.
Yeah, it's really weird.
But that's the problem, and we can lower our expectations to be like, oh yeah, we have to expect inconsistency, and sometimes it's not your day. But for NA, sometimes it's not your day ends up being the norm. And
it's never their day.
The biggest thing too is like,
but that's like,
it seems like
so
it seems like it's
how is it not their
meta-dependent,
day
right?
anymore? That is their day.
Like,
if being inconsistent and losing, it's not their day, but that is their day then. And I think that's what people are upset about.
I think it's like sometimes players are playing at their absolute peak, and sometimes players are playing near their median or below, right? And I think our median level, like our average, our regression to the mean, is just a lower level than most other regions. Like I think like NA is like here, Korea's probably like up here with China, around the same. Europe's probably a little bit below that. And then NA is a little bit of a step down, right?
Right.
And sure, we have those famous, like the CLG run in 2016 is always one I'm going to point back to because I'm biased as a CLG fan. But like, that's a 5-man team that you look at that roster today and you go, how the hell did that team nearly win MSI? Like, how did that team, surprise everybody out of nowhere?
Right.
And an MSI that had a stacked SKT, a stacked RNG, and a stacked Flash Wolves, how did they get to finals? Right? A little bit of luck, a lot of bit of surprise. And some disappointment from other teams. Like,
yeah, sure.
They beat Faker in his prime with a team that ended up going on into winning Worlds on Faker's LeBlanc, which he had like lost on 2 times in history. Like, with a 5-man squad that now has 2 of those players are currently still playing support in LCS. One of them's on an academy team. One of them's on a main team as ADC for Dignitas. And the jungler is retired at this point. So it's like, I think that's just a right place, right time. Even like with last year, or 2 years ago now with MSI, right? They made that finals run and they beat the defending champion IG 3-1 in a best of 5, right? And probably top 10 biggest upsets in like professional league history at like a Worlds event, right? No one expects North America to beat anybody, first of all, let alone the defending champs with the stacked roster from China who just, have been slacking everybody. So I think it's a matter of like the right meta with the right players hitting their right peaks, right? And that's the way NA exceeds and performs in these Worlds, right? Cloud9 tends to make it through more often than not, probably because their players have a better floor. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And if they have a wrong meta read, they're more adaptable or something. I mean, again, it's hard to like put into like a tangible way of like how to like replicate the success when no one's figured out how to do it yet, right?
Yeah, sure.
Even teams like Liquid, who keep most of the roster, fluctuating up and down. Like Cloud9, making roster changes, fluctuates up and down. CLG was a Worlds contender 3 years ago, and now they're the bottom team in the league, or close to.
Yeah.
It's just teams are. I mean, maybe it is the constant turnover too. Maybe teams aren't getting enough chance. But then again, you look at the same thing. I bring up CLG again. Maybe you stick with the thing too long. Maybe you tried too hard to make it work. CLG probably should have blown it up a year before they did.
Sometimes it's the patches too. Like
sometimes it's like I was saying, the meta read.
Yeah, the meta read and yeah, you're bad on a particular patch, or as you said, you just have a bad read on the
patch focused on bot lane. Well, we're a top lane focused team, so this sucks for us.
Well, I've seen teams, when I haven't watched much this season, but in past splits where you have a team that's super good up to a point, or let's say they're super good in spring and they just like slam spring split, they're the best team, and then summer split comes along and it's it's been like 3-4 patches since spring split and they suck because it's a new patch and they haven't adjusted to it yet, or maybe their team just isn't good for that particular meta that patch brings. Like,
here's a fun stat: Cloud9 last season, right, lost 4 regular season games across both splits. They went 17-1 and 15 and or 13-5. Sorry, 6 total games.
Yeah.
They went 13-5 in summer and missed Worlds last year. Like, they were 1 game off of a perfect split in spring. MSI got canceled, and then they had a great summer, looked like the favorites, and didn't even make Worlds.
Yeah,
right?
They got smoked in playoffs, didn't they?
Yeah, they lost to TSM 3-1, and then top 3 qualify. So C9 was just out. They lost to FlyQuest and TSM. That was it. Like, your season's over.
And last year, like, spring didn't matter at all for Worlds, right?
Yeah,
it was like the opposite. It was the
It
opposite.
doesn't now. It doesn't this year either. Like, it's whoever finishes top 3 in summer is going. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think again, it's so many different factors too. Like maybe a player got sick right around playoff time, and we were traveling overseas. Maybe that player got sick while they're boot camping, or adjusting to Worlds. That happens all the time. As players are getting sick during Worlds because it's a completely different environment with different bacteria and different peoples that you're interacting with,
and they're stressed out and they're overworking themselves
your
too.
cortisol is up through the roof right now because
it's up there, dude.
And there's the stage jitters, right? Like, there's a difference between playing in your bedroom, playing on stage, and then playing in front of thousands of people, right? So, I mean, there's so many factors that add into, like, good teams and great players, and a lot of it comes down to who can actually, like, perform on the biggest stage. And sometimes NA teams, more often than not, don't perform. That's what it comes down to. And it's nice to see when they do. It sucks when they don't, but you know what? It's still fun to watch regardless, and just don't get too comfortable with NA teams. Like, go pick a favorite Chinese team to root for. There's some sick players out there like Gala right now, who is like a sick storyline in his own. Like, kids like 18 taking over for Uzi, who's probably top 5 most known players all time, and actually playing out of his fucking mind. So, like, root for other teams. Have other options open. It's not like there's no domestic team anymore because there's no regional team. Like, I don't have the Detroit, gamers. Basically,
right.
It's I like CLG because their icon looks cool. That's it. But I'm also gonna root for like top esports last year because I like the players. I like watching their players. They're sick.
Yeah.
So, esports is interesting. I love watching it. I like talking about it. But NA sucks, dude. You get used to it.
Okay. Okay. So just letting you guys know that for sure at 5:45 I got to be out for class. And I did have one more thing I wanted to pose to both of you, because you're super weebs. So I have a question for both of you. Don't even say that. You are. If I asked right now, what's your favorite show? What's your favorite anime of the current season? You both would have an answer, and it would be
tough. I don't know. That's
you
tough.
Both would have an answer, at least but you'd both have many answers.
Of the ones I'm watching, it's probably Vivi.
Yeah. See, there you go.
It's probably Vivi you're saying.
Yeah. See, super weebs. So. My point is, I wanted to ask you two a question, because I've been thinking about this lately, and I have an answer to it, but I want to hear your answers.
Oh, he's been thinking again.
If you take it easy, so for shows that you watch for, we'll say anime, I'm curious to hear, like, if you stumble upon a show that comes out tomorrow. When does it become a show you want to watch or not want to watch? Like, are there specific qualities you're looking for? And it could be any kind of show. We're not gonna fix onto genre. Okay, so if it had 3 qualities, maybe it's like, okay, if it doesn't have these 3 qualities, I'm out. Or maybe there's more qualities. But my point is if it doesn't have these 3, is that like a deal breaker? I'm curious. So one of you can go first. Dodge, you.
I don't.
Or again, like
I could pinpoint it to a couple things. I think the characters. The characters is the big one. Like,
Okay.
do I like the characters? Do I like what they're doing with them? How, like, are they just basic tropes? Are they unique? Like, what? Basically, everything you can put into a trope at some point, because everything's been done before. But like, what makes this character unique, right? The story, right? What's going on? What is this about? Like, is it a slice of life drama high school thing? I want to see slice of life drama high school thing, right? I don't want to see, Gundam mechs fighting. Like, that's not what I'm here for. Third thing, just probably personal taste. Like, honestly, like, I'm biased. I love slice of life and shit. I'm not gonna go out of my way to watch Gundam very often. That's just how it is.
That's fine.
Yeah, like the characters are the big one. I need to see good characters that I enjoy watching, and then I'll keep watching for whatever the story does. If I don't enjoy the characters, or if I don't enjoy the plot, I'm not going to enjoy the show. And that shows in my podcast rankings in my podcast show. You guys check it out. Twitch.tv/SaverSlay. Hee plug.
That's fine. Okay,
But,
so
yeah.
so again, just to sum up, good characters and trajectory for those characters, slice of life, not necessarily interested in just getting into mechs, but maybe there has to be something more there. Is that fair to sum up? Is that fair?
Like characters, story,
Sure.
personal favoritism.
Okay, got
Or
it.
personal beliefs.
Perfect. Spoon. Again, it doesn't have to be 3. It could be 2, possibly 1. But
Does it have a Gundam?
there needs you basically are you've got a show in front of you, and you're watching it, and you've watched like X number of episodes of it. It doesn't matter at what point you're it's a deal breaker. When do you stop watching it because it didn't have one of these deal breaker qualities?
I mean, I'm kind of with Dodge on I think characters is big. I don't know why, especially for anime, but if the characters are like uninteresting or they're not developing or they're just they're just tropey and boring or just, harem big titties, like whatever, I'm just like, okay, this is boring and I don't want to watch this because these characters are just suck and they're uninteresting.
Okay.
That's probably the biggest. I mean,
that's it.
I mean, yeah. There's other things that are. I mean, yeah. I mean, the story again, like characters and story are number one for sure for me. It's just like the characters or the story are just bad or uninteresting. I'm not. It's not gonna do it.
Okay.
It's not gonna do it for me. I mean, well, I suppose. I mean, okay. Maybe I shouldn't say that entirely because I can enjoy some just kind of stupid action show if the action is like good enough.
Yeah. Okay.
And
If it's funnily bad, that's a whole nother like thing.
Yeah. We'll get to that in a second.
Like G Gundam, for example, is like I don't love it, but like it's entertaining in its own right, and it's not a terrible show.
We're gonna get to that one in a second. Don't worry, we're gonna get to that side of it.
And yeah, I mean, I have my taste too. Like I do like mecha, but I don't watch everything that's mecha, and I have seen a few pretty bad mecha shows as well.
Sure.
What else? Yeah, I mean, I've been watching anime with Dodge more, and I've definitely gotten more into the like slice of life type stuff. I'm not super big yet on like High School Romance. I can do it occasionally.
He's got a girl
like,
now, so now he can deal with the gushy stuff.
I can't do High School Romance stuff anymore.
I want more like college or like adult life stuff, but like whenever they do it, it like fails. It sucks.
Yeah, like Horimiya was good. And Kaguya, for example, was like that thing was unique because like the characters were interesting, but it's really funny too. Like it's just a good comedy. It's a good comedy show.
OVA is coming out this week. I'm so excited.
And I mean, Your Lie in April is just freaking brilliant.
Stuff that makes you cry, I think breaks the mold of like
again
age.
if like the characters in the story are good enough that I like feel a connection to them and I get like sad or happy or angry when certain things like happen to them, then a show has really grabbed me, right?
Okay. Got it.
What about you, Otto? I know you're a degenerate weeb.
For me,
I see all the posters behind you. You're clearly the biggest weeb of all.
It's actually very simple.
I just have a blank wall of like storage, and like Spoon has a blank red wall because Spoon is addicted to the color red. So like you're the biggest weeb here.
That's not true. I already countered that argument.
I don't know. You have a bunch of figures on the wall there too. Like there's Naruto and Goku.
There is actually.
One Piece. I don't know who that is.
And that still makes me a little bit less.
So
it makes me a little bit less.
Does it?
Yes, 100%. So mine are very simple. I have 2. There needs to be some action, and it needs to be kind of funny. Kind of. It doesn't have to be funny, but if it's like a bonus. If there's action, I'm actually okay with it because I don't have a brain. So if there's action, I can kind of get into it.
Monkey brain.
Or it's kind of funny because I can also get into that.
What if it's funny with like the slapstick comedy?
I'd probably be okay with
it. Not really action, but it's like slapstick comedy where it's like skits.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
He might like Kaguya then.
I'm more okay
with that. He might be able to watch.
We'll see. Yeah, I mean, it would depend if he. it would depend if he thought it was funny or not. Maybe he wouldn't.
That's
You know,
true. Otto is a
humor.
boomer,
Let me
so he
guess.
has a bad
Humor.
sense of humor.
Okay, I can answer this for you now. Is it witty or is it stupid funny?
A little bit of both.
Yeah, it depends on the
I
skit.
think
Okay,
some of it's
I'd
pretty
probably be
witty.
okay with it then. I don't
But,
like witty funny. I don't like
Really?
witty funny, actually. No, I think it just becomes too smart for me.
He'd like Fujiwara then, because
I
she's
just
just
think it
the
becomes too
essence of me.
smart for me, and I just like, okay.
I think the dub of Kaguya is more stupid. Which is weird to say, but like I've watched the English dub and the actual like subs for it, and the English dub is fucking hilarious.
Okay.
Just because it's stupid.
Because like, I'm okay with witty humor, but I
Yeah.
like dumb humor better.
You would
think
enjoy
it's just 'cause
probably then.
I just like dumb humor. It's very stupid and
But-
silly. It works for
but-
me.
Monkey brain like
Otto-
monkey humor. Yeah. it works.
Otto was bored with your line, April, because
And
it
I
was
answered that, and that's why I figured out why I was bored with it.
because there was no action, and
No
it was just
action,
like
wasn't
it was
funny.
just it was like sappy and depressing. So Otto's like,
I
nah,
was
this is
like,
boring.
there's no
Like,
action. It's not funny. It doesn't.
Otto's
feel
an
like
old
anything's
engaged man now,
happening.
Spoon.
I'm
He
out.
doesn't have emotions anymore.
I'm out.
Yeah.
I figured it out too. I was thinking, I was like, why did I not like that show?
When you
But
buy the
everybody
ring,
else does.
you lose all you
That
like
was it.
you pay emotional value.
That was 100% the reason. Is just like, I don't like that show because it doesn't have any action in it, which is kind of what I trend towards, and or it wasn't funny at all. It was just very serious, with very serious tones. I was like, no, I don't. I'm okay with. I'm not. I'm
yeah,
okay
he
missing
didn't
that out.
he didn't want to hear this romance story about this pianist overcoming his crippling
don't.
depression.
Not at all.
Depression
And actually,
like,
that answers another thing.
and his performance issues. And
If a
his
show
Trump.
deals with heavy depression, I don't like it either. I actually don't like that stuff. I really don't like it. Anything that deals with really heavy depression, I actually don't like that much.
Otto doesn't like
And
heavy
that's also
topics.
why I don't like Pyro and Mithra that much, is because they're very depressed
witty.
people, and I actually don't like that.
Well, Mithra's
So
more witty.
I think that's actually why I don't like that stuff. Is like when it circles in there, I just don't like it. Not to say that it isn't a very serious thing. That's something I don't like to view in my. Okay. Before we end, I have one more. What's your? I'm gonna say guilty pleasure. What's your guilty pleasure that you know is bad, but you enjoy?
You mean a specific show or like
Not a
just
specific
a
show.
general?
You could
season.
give like a listing of a couple, and you could explain why in that same bubble, like it's your guilty pleasure, and you love it, but you know it's bad. Like it's bad. You fundamentally understand it's a bad thing. It's like bad show or like it's a bad thing, but you latch onto it. And anyone can answer this.
Oh man,
And
like
I know mine.
so if it's good, if it has to have like it still has to have like the good characters and the comedy behind it, but like a good trashy harem is super fucking entertaining to me. Things like Osamake from this season, things like Seikano, like it. I am okay with harem genre if it's funny enough,
Sure.
right? And if there is like a resolution at the end, like the girl gets chosen at the end. Like,
Okay, so someone was chosen.
right?
So someone was chosen.
It has to have a satisfying like ending to it, where it's like there's a definitive ending,
Got it.
right? But like something about that trashy show, not necessarily the ecchi genre part of it, but like just like the trashy harem.
Okay.
I get a kick out of it as long as the characters are good and it's funny. That's all
Okay.
that matters to me.
Is there a specific case where like the show wasn't reviewed particularly well, but you liked it? Like, and when I say particularly well, anything 6 and under is not a good review. Let's go with that.
6 and under.
If it's 6 and under, I think we can say that's not a good review.
For this season, Saints is getting like surprisingly low ratings for just a show that's just like generally wholesome. Like all
Well,
it is
I mean,
wholesome the show.
I don't get
And
people rating shows before they've completed it, but that's just
That
me.
too.
Like
This show's average like a 68%, which is like a 6 to 7 out of 10
Okay,
on most scales.
It's
Which
pushing it.
for a seasonal show is pretty freaking low.
Okay.
I think it's really good. I don't think World's End with You is that bad. That's a show that's like rated below 6 right now.
Oh, really? World Ends with You is below a 6?
Like a 58% approval.
Ooh. God.
It,
You guys
People-
are
it
tough.
doesn't-
You guys are
it
tough
doesn't
on
look-
these shows. You guys are tough.
it doesn't look pretty.
You guys, everybody, you guys are too tough on that show. I think everybody's too tough on it. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's that bad.
Spoon
Guilty pleasure.
that you
I mean,
know
it's.
is bad, but you really like it. You have to know.
I
Like,
mean,
you have to. It's gotta
Code
be
Geass
bad.
season 1.
You can't
it's not
just.
bad.
Code Geass
It's
season
not
1 is
bad.
not bad.
The end of Code Geass
What?
season 1.
That is
It's
not
one
bad.
episode or 2 episodes.
I don't know.
Like,
Yeah.
I have a comment. I don't know what's wrong with you guys. I actually like that.
Ooh,
I thought
Ghost
it was
makes a
great.
good point. Moe stuff is really entertaining too
Oh
sometimes.
God, not the
Just
Moe.
feel good shows.
Not the Moe
Just
garbage.
cute feel good shows sometimes just
I'm sorry.
are good.
Spoon, please continue. It's not good. I think
I
it is.
I,
I think it's
I,
good.
I think it's just like mecha in general for me. Like I've watched,
Okay.
as I said, I've watched some bad mechas. I've watched some mecha shows that I'm like, yeah, this is not good, but I'm just gonna finish it anyways because
Okay.
whatever. It's entertaining and it's fine. Is it good? No, not at all. There and like Gundam in general, like I'll watch anything Gundam, and I've watched some Gundam things. So like I don't think I've watched anything Gundam that was like bad, but I have watched some mediocre to below average
Oh,
Gundam
we
things.
have.
And it's like,
We have.
okay.
We watched Seed Destiny. That is a mediocre to below average show, and I think we both
Yeah, I
agree
think
on that.
I have it at about a 6 for me.
That's
Like it's
yeah.
like it's whatever.
It is. It's a very whatever show.
Yeah. And actually like I have a number of Gundam shows that are in like the 6 range that I like. G Gundam's down there as well, where it's like it's entertaining, but
That's
is it a good show? No, not really. Like
fine.
it's fine.
That
So yeah, I
ending.
think it's like mecha and Gundam for me in
Okay.
general. Like slap a mecha or a Gundam on it, I'm like, all right, I'll probably enjoy this
Shocker.
at least
Okay.
slightly.
Okay. I think that's also fair. Mine is just a specific show that's becoming a genre. I kind of like the shonen genre a little bit too much, I think, and it's because of the action. I think it's the action. I'm like a fly on dog shit. I know it's dog shit when I look at it. Like Fairy Tale, for example. Not a good show. It's really not. But it's like it's there and I'm too enticed to it. I don't know. It's like I can't put my finger on it. There's like a bunch of bad parts and then there's like one good part and I'm back in. I think that's what happens. And I can't put my finger on it, but I kind of enjoy it. That's mine.
You
Mine
gonna
is
watch
it's a
you gonna
very
watch One
six.
Piece? You gonna watch One Piece next? Oh no.
No. I don't think I have any
Yes.
interest in that until someone makes me
Oh,
start watching it. If someone straps
it's
me to a
so
chair and I
good.
watch it, I'll probably be fine with it. But
I think you'd like One Piece. It's got that stupid comedy too
okay,
aspect to it,
yeah, it's
and a
probably
lot of action.
yeah,
Like
I'd
Yeah.
probably get
I
into
mean,
it.
there's
as
also
someone who caught up to One
1,000
Piece,
episodes.
as someone who caught up to One
Ugh.
Piece in about a year's time, like
I can't do that.
you start watching it and you're like, okay, I'll watch it till it gets bored, and then like a couple hundred episodes in, you're like, I just need a break right now. It's
Oh,
not
God.
boring. I just need like a month off, and then you come back to it, and then you're like, shit, why did I stop?
I don't think I could do that. Maybe I'll try like a couple episodes and see how
You gotta remember, like,
but I
you
don't
get to
know.
skip like the first like 8 minutes of every episode because every episode starts with the opening of like Goldie Roger, and then like spends like 3 minutes of going in recap, like
Yeah,
all
sure.
old anime
Like
did.
all of them do that. All of them do that.
It's like the first like 100 episodes fly by,
Okay.
and,
Well,
and then like you get hooked. You get hooked with the first big arc. Is what it comes down to. But
I currently want to watch Demon Slayer. That's my thing. I found it. I watched
I
one
need to get.
episode on it.
I need to
I
watch
kind of
that.
liked it. I kind of thought it was interesting. So I'm gonna
That's on
at
my
some
list.
point sit down and watch that. But okay, we gotta end here pretty soon. I just want to go on record
Yep.
again and say that that ending of season 1 of Code Geass, I don't understand why you guys don't like it. And
Fucking
it's
awful.
just me. It's just me. I'm sorry. I know it's just me. You
Can I
Yes,
spoil?
you-
forgive
Can we
me.
talk spoilers real quick? Can we like put
Yes.
spoiler warning?
That show has been out
Warning?
for 15 years.
Okay, spoiler warning. I want to say something crazy. Fucking joking about genocide is a terrible plot device. That's all I have to say. Like, what if I told you to just kill all the Japanese? Wouldn't that be hilarious? Oh, I did. Whoops.
It was a valuable catalyst for many characters.
He could have said anything else there.
Nope.
He could have said, if I told you to do 10 jumping jacks right now, you would. And then the problem solved.
But it had to be something
Ugh.
so ridiculous that she would never do. So it had
Which
to be
is so,
that.
like, it's so against her character that it's like, oh.
But that's the point. That's the whole point of it. It's the catalyst. It's a valuable catalyst. It's a very tiny nugget that stays with so many characters. It's a very small nugget. Very small.
It annoyed the shit out
Very
of me.
small. I'm sure it annoyed many people, but I liked it.
It just
was
just
great.
felt so out of left field.
great.
when you're watching it.
It was great.
I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle on it. I think the foreshadowing for it's okay because like Mao exists and you see C2 like kind of before the scene's about to happen. She's like, "Oh no, it's happening." Whatever. But I also think it's incredibly contrived. I agree with Daj
The
on the like.
controversy.
Yeah, he could have said literally anything, and he said,
it-
"Oh, I could just ask you to kill all the Japanese," and then it activates like right at that time. Like that's the exact moment that the Gios like
The fact that there's like no
changes
feelings, the
and
Gios either is like the really like. It's just like it's like there's a switch flip without you knowing the switch got flipped, right?
I'm just
how many people has Spoon showed that show to? That's like 15 at least. Like
again.
Good show. Don't
any,
know. Like
any
Code
anyone
Geass is a fantastic show with possibly the greatest
It is a
ending
good
of
show.
any anime all time.
Good show.
But there's a lot of flaws in season 1 and season 2 that get overlooked because it's such a great show.
Yeah, I mean, the show is not perfect by any means, but the show is completely made by its ending, and people forget the flaws, with the exception of the Yuffie scene. That's the one that most people
overlook
bring.
it. That's the
Most-
one that like
That's the one that
sticks.
everyone brings up. Like, yeah, this was trash.
Because
They
it
don't.
forces like such like a drastic ending to season 1 that you're just like, what the hell just happened? What we built up this great thing and then it's just gone.
The necessary catalyst. Necessary catalyst.
There's other ways to write a story.
Nope.
I just think
Yeah.
It had to be so ridiculous that she would never.
you
do
could have
it.
just had someone else kill her.
No, that wouldn't work.
Yeah, the ending.
Yes, it would have.
No, it's an important catalyst for multiple different reasons, for the people and for all the different main characters. It's important.
Sounds like we could.
I'm not getting
sounds,
into this.
Sounds like we could have a We could have a podcast just on this
could.
one episode of
Code
Code
Geass
Geass.
We could.
episode
We
21.
very much
The
could.
discussion.
I think it's 22, but yeah.
We're bringing a bunch of guests.
Maybe it is 21. But yeah, I mean the show is the show is regarded as generally like an excellent show or a masterpiece in some people's eyes because of its ending. Like, and they forget the flaws and some of the contrivancy and some of the annoying episodes and stuff like that exist. I was thinking about this a little bit watching it again. I feel like this show did not need to be 50 episodes. Like, I think it could have been shorter.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
What
there's
do
a
you
lot
mean?
of
The
there's
cat
filler in the
chasing
middle of
scene
this
was
show.
everything. We
The
had
cat
to have the
chasing
cat
and the
chase.
and the school festival robot arc, like
We had to have those, right? We had to.
we need Colin in a buddy suit. Come on, like
Yeah.
we haven't checked off all the kinks for her yet.
Also,
Yeah,
We had the shower scene, we got the bunny suit.
That's the other thing, by the way, man. If they ever remade Code Geass, which they wouldn't, please cut down on the frickin' fan service and the Colin titties like every 5 seconds.
It's classic
Please stop.
anime. It's
Spoon,
classic.
can I just say something? I'm disappointed in you right now.
It doesn't need it. That show
Yes, it
doesn't
does.
need
Yes,
it.
it does.
Like there are shows that need.
Can we
the-
ask
the-
what was the
the
obsession with
man-
early 2000s bunny suits? Like, what was the obsession with that? Like, Haruhi had it, the show had it.
To reduce the tatas in that show, I can't believe you're saying this, Spoon.
That is
you've
blasphemy.
changed. You're not the same Spoon I knew.
Like,
You've changed.
I'm just saying, like
Change.
there are shows that they live on that, like High School of the Dead. I mean, that would not be the same show
Okay,
without the tatas.
That would not
But-
be the same show.
It would.
Anything with an etchy tag wouldn't be the
But-
same.
Like Code Geass just doesn't need it. Like it's just such a good
It's a
show
story-driven
without
show,
it.
yeah.
It doesn't add to the show at
It's
all.
just forced.
Like
It's just
not
forced,
at all.
yeah.
It's so forced.
I have to force a pause. I gotta go to class in like 2 minutes.
No, we're good.
We'll bring you back, Dodge, at some point, and we'll have a debate. We'll have a debate. We'll have a debate on that Yuffie episode where everyone can scream at me. Everyone can scream at me. I'll let everyone scream at me and tell me why it's so bad. I will allow that. I think that's fair too, because I have lots of bad opinions. So thanks everybody for watching. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you, Dodge, for joining us. I
Nice
really
being back to
appreciate
the podcast that I feel like I started by default.
Yeah. No, I like talking League with you. It was good because I keep seeing all the League stuff on my Twitter, and I'm just like,
Why is everyone so mad?
I gotta get some resolution on that. And as always, Boone, thanks for hanging out. I hope you feel good tomorrow. Really, I do. I hope you don't get any side effects.
Feel good this weekend.
The last couple tidbits before we close. YouTube, please check out our YouTube, guys. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Not this week, but next week we'll do another D&D session. So for those of you that watched our D&D last week, there will be none tomorrow. It'll be next week. We'll hopefully figure out what's going to happen to Arden as he enters the lair of a green hag. And I
Oh,
think
man.
I think that's it. Spoon, if you're gonna stream Tales anytime tomorrow, or I imagine you won't be this weekend, but anytime tomorrow, uh, post it. And yeah, like I said, thanks everybody, and thanks guys for joining.
Bye bye.
Bye everyone. Thanks for coming.